The aroma of simmering stew filled the air, a comforting scent that seemed to wrap around the small apartment like a warm blanket. It was a familiar warmth in their small apartment, a place where every corner held memories of struggle and resilience.
Maria, just 16, stirred the pot with practiced ease, her brow furrowed in concentration. She had become adept at this, a skill born out of necessity rather than choice.
She had long since learned to gauge the consistency, to measure the perfect blend of spices that brought a smile to her younger siblings' faces. Each meal she prepared was a small victory, a moment of joy in a life that felt increasingly heavy with responsibilities. It was a small victory in a life that felt increasingly heavy. Yet these moments of pride were fleeting, overshadowed by the weight of her daily duties.
Her mother, weary from a double shift at the diner, slumped onto a kitchen chair. The exhaustion etched on her face told a story of endless toil and sacrifice. She offered a tired smile, her eyes reflecting a fatigue that ran deeper than any good night's sleep could cure. It was a fatigue that Maria understood all too well.
Maria knew better than to complain, to add to her mother's burdens. She had learned to shoulder her responsibilities with quiet determination. To add to her mother's burdens would be unthinkable. She was, after all, the responsible one, the one who held their fragile world together. Every chore, every task was a thread in the delicate fabric of their lives. She was the one who held their fragile world together, a role she embraced with a maturity beyond her years.
Homework could wait. There were more pressing matters at hand.
Maria had learned to prioritize, to balance her dreams with the immediate needs of her family. She had become adept at stealing moments between chores, finding time to care for her younger brother and sister amidst the chaos. She was their caretaker, their confidant, their second mother in a household stretched thin by circumstance. Her siblings looked up to her, relying on her strength and guidance. And within her, a silent struggle raged, a longing for a life she barely had time to dream about. She yearned for a future where her burdens were lighter, where her dreams could take flight. Later that night, when the apartment was finally quiet, Maria slipped a crumpled envelope from her textbook. It was her report card, adorned with yet another semester of straight A's. Tucked inside, a different kind of paper held her attention, a scholarship offer from the state university.
It was a chance, a flicker of hope in the darkness.
Her fingers traced the words, a lump forming in her throat. This scholarship wasn't just about tuition, it was a ticket to a future she yearned for, a future where her mind, not her circumstances, would define her. But the weight of responsibility pressed down on her, heavy and suffocating.
How could she leave? Who would care for her family? Who would ease her mother's burden?
The guilt gnawed at her, a constant companion to her dreams. With a sigh, she tucked the letter away, hidden in the pages of a book, a silent testament to a dream deferred. Years passed in a blur of responsibility. Maria graduated high school with honors. The scholarship letter, a faded memory tucked away in her drawer. College remained a distant dream, a luxury she couldn't afford. Instead, she found work at a local bakery. The early morning hours, a small price to pay for the ability to contribute to their meager income.
Life wasn't easy. There were nights when she cried herself to sleep, exhausted from her double life, student by day, surrogate parent by night.
But she persevered, fueled by an unwavering love for her family and a quiet strength that came from within. She became adept at stretching their limited budget, transforming simple ingredients into meals that filled their stomachs and warmed their hearts. She helped her siblings with their homework, offering encouragement and guidance that she often wished she had received. One evening, the weight of it all became too much to bear. Silence in the room was suffocating, pressing down on her like an invisible force. The familiar frustration of unpaid bills, the constant reminders of financial strain, the exhaustion etched on her mother's face, lines deepening with each passing day, and the longing for a life beyond their cramped apartment collided in a moment of despair. Dreams of a better future seemed so distant, almost unreachable.
Why am I the only one who worries about these things? Why does it feel like I'm carrying this burden alone? Don't you see how hard I'm trying? Every single day I give my all, and yet it feels like it's never enough.
Her mother, startled by the outburst, could only offer a weary sigh. The weight of unspoken words hung heavily in the air.
You're a good girl, Maria. You always have been.
Her words a familiar refrain that did little to soothe Maria's wounded spirit. The reassurance felt hollow, almost mechanical. The silence that followed was deafening, a testament to the chasm of misunderstanding that stretched between them. It was a silence filled with unspoken fears and unvoiced dreams.
That night, as she lay awake, staring at the ceiling, a new kind of pain settled in her heart. It was a pain that whispered of loneliness and isolation. It wasn't just the sacrifice, the lost opportunities, but the feeling of invisibility, of being taken for granted. The realization cut deep, leaving her feeling more alone than ever. Was she nothing more than a support system, a pillar holding up a family that barely seemed to notice? The question lingered, echoing in the silence of the night.
A few days later, as Maria sat hunched over a pile of textbooks, her younger brother Miguel approached her, his brow furrowed with concern. She had been spending countless hours studying, trying to balance her responsibilities and her dreams. He had always been a quiet observer, but this time his words held a wisdom beyond his years. Miguel had seen the sacrifices Maria made, and it pained him to see her struggle.
You know, you could have been at college by now. You had dreams, Maria, and you were so close to achieving them.
He said softly, his gaze fixed on his worn-out sneakers. The weight of his words hung in the air, heavy with unspoken emotions.
You always say we come first, but what about you, Maria? What about your dreams and your future?
His words struck a chord deep within her, shattering the wall of silence she had built around her heart. She had always put her family first, but hearing Miguel's concern made her realize the depth of her own sacrifices. It was one thing to sacrifice for her family, but to be acknowledged, to have her burdens seen, filled her with a rush of emotion she couldn't quite place. It was a mix of gratitude, sadness, and a longing for something more.
It's not that simple, Miguel. There are so many things to consider, so many responsibilities that can't be ignored.
She sighed, the weight of her responsibilities returning in full force. The reality of her situation was a constant burden, one that she couldn't easily escape.
Someone has to be here to take care of things. If not me, then who? It's a role I've accepted, even if it's difficult.
But why does it always have to be you? You deserve a chance too, you know. You deserve to follow your dreams and find your own path.
His voice gaining strength, Miguel's persistence brought a new light to Maria's internal struggle. She realized that maybe, just maybe, there was a way to balance her responsibilities and her dreams. His words, so simple yet profound, planted a seed of doubt in Maria's mind. For the first time, she began to question the narrative she had woven around her life, the belief that her dreams were a luxury she couldn't afford.
The scholarship letter. It's been sitting in my drawer all this time.
The scholarship letter, long forgotten in her drawer, resurfaced in her thoughts, a tangible reminder of the possibilities that lay dormant within her.
What if I could find a way to balance my responsibilities with my aspirations? Is it possible to honor my family while also honoring myself?
The questions lingered, refusing to be silenced. She knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy, but for the first time in a long time she felt a glimmer of hope, a flicker of excitement for a future that wasn't entirely defined by sacrifice. The next morning, Maria approached her mother with a mix of trepidation and newfound determination. She spoke of her dreams, her aspirations, and the scholarship offer that had been gathering dust for far too long.
Mom, I have to tell you something. I got this scholarship offer, and I really want to pursue it.
To her surprise, her mother listened, her eyes filled with a mixture of sadness and understanding.
I never wanted to clip your wings, Mia. I didn't know how to help you fly.
With her mother's blessing and her siblings' unwavering support, Maria began to explore her options. It wouldn't be easy, she knew, but the thought of finally pursuing her dreams filled her with a sense of purpose she hadn't felt in years. She enrolled at the local community college, taking night classes that allowed her to continue working and caring for her family. The workload was daunting, but she found strength in the knowledge that she was no longer alone in her struggle.
I can do this. I have my family by my side.
Her family rallied around her, offering support and encouragement every step of the way. Her mother, inspired by Maria's courage, even started taking English classes at the community center, determined to create a brighter future for herself and her children.
If Maria can do it, so can I.
Life was still a balancing act, a delicate dance between love and responsibility. But Maria discovered a strength within herself that she never knew she possessed. She learned that caring for herself wasn't selfish, but a necessary act of self-preservation, a way to ensure that she could continue to be a source of strength for her loved ones. Years later, as Maria stood on the graduation stage, accepting her diploma with a heart overflowing with gratitude, she realized that her journey had been anything but linear. It was a testament to the power of perseverance, the resilience of the human spirit, and the unwavering love of family.
We always knew you could do it, Maria.
She had stumbled, she had fallen, but through it all, she had never lost sight of her dreams.
I did it. I really did it.
And in the process of pursuing them, she discovered a strength, a resilience, and a capacity for love that would guide her through the years to come. The future stretched before her, bright with promise and possibility, a testament to the transformative power of a dream deferred but never forgotten.
This is just the beginning. The journey continues.